Welcome to the Mean Street Podcast with Brandon Benefield.
Hey, what is going on here?
Adam Howell.
Okay, I need 33 1/3 pounds of bacon.
Alfred Romero.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm like a dumpster.
And Adrian Moss.
Let's do this!
We use the word revolution because this is a revolution.
Hold one, arm drag. Woo!
The millions.
What? That's the big wiggle.
Look at all of this crap in this ring.
Hold two, arm bar.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
It's still real to me, damn it.
That's right, yet another podcast about professional wrestling. Seriously, guys?
Making their way to the ring at a combined weight of 776 pounds, the Mean Street
Podcast.
Hold three, the moss-covered, three-handle family Gradunzel. Two, sweet!
God almighty, the roof just came off.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is the Mean Street Podcast. It's your pal, Brandon Benefield, a.k.a. B-Double, if you will. I almost forgot my own name, but I'm joined by my brothers from other mothers. I got Half Blink, A.Bomb2Sweet over here. What's up, man? There he is.
You know what's up? I'm here to deliver some unbiased journalistic integrity. I got my pen. I got my paper. And I'm here on these mean streets that lead to a dead end to raise the standard and silence the falsest, joined by my brother from another mother, the Big Moss Man.
I thought you were going to say brown brother from another mother. I like that.
I did say brown brother. We had another take of this, if you're, and that probably will not be exposed to the meanies, but I called him brown brother. And then I realized, like, someone was probably going to, like, get their panties in a wad if I said that. So
the only panties you need to worry about are mine, okay? And they're not in a wad. I hope you guys.
What color?
I was going to say that I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm actually in my cabin, my off-the-grid cabin here, like living it up First Blood style, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
I was just curious what color your panties are. Is that weird to be curious about? Is that? I think the fans want to know. Is it just me?
my panties are First Blood colored red.
Okay, sorry. I don't know. I blacked
Don't ask
out.
questions you don't want answers to.
Yeah. Anyways.
So I thought of two things. I thought of the first thing, but then I thought of, like, you know, that tarp that John wears, like, in the middle of the movie?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like a piece of, like, old garbage. Then I thought of that, and I was like, well, that'd just be really uncomfortable to wear as pants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyways, what else is new with you guys?
Dude, I am pretty certain that your boy A.Bomb2Sweet is going through a midlife crisis.
Okay.
So,
Well, you know, I bought a Target exclusive Razor Moan Legends Series 7.
as well you should have, yes.
I actually have two of these right now. One for the unboxing video that we did for Figgy Time, and I bought another one.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Nice. And the Weasel. I love
Awesome.
it. And the Weasel costume.
And look at that art.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And then I went to Target. So this is what I'm doing at work. I eat my lunch really quick just so I can get in my car and drive down Target or Walmart and go on a Figgy find. And so I go there, and, like, you know, it's just this weird thing, man. It's like this weird thrill of the hunt. I'm actually going to be selling all of these. I already have all these up on eBay. So it's like I don't even want them, but it's like the thrill of the hunt and, like, holding them in my hand. So I go to Target, and I'm just thinking, like, they're not going to have Greg the Hammer Valentine, because what I needed to do was capture all three of these: Razor, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Greg the Hammer Valentine. And, like, if I didn't, then I wouldn't be able to resell them properly for good profits. So I'm like, I don't. There's no way they're going to have Greg the Hammer Valentine, because I had not seen him in any Target. I've been to like 3 or 4 Targets over the last 2 weeks looking for this figure. I think he's just the more limited of this run. And this is the complete collection right here. And not only do they have a black trunk version, but they have the yellow trunk version, which is called the Chase variant. So it's the one that, like, everyone chases after, right? So this is much more limited. And I go there, and lo and behold, they had the Chase variant Greg the Hammer Valentine. So I bought all three. I have all three of these things, and they're actually up on eBay right now. But I just wanted to show the meanies, just how fun like wrestling figure collecting is right now. So it's not only just like having something that's on your shelf. Like I don't collect these. Like Mattel Elites, like I have a couple of them. I have another Razor and I have a Rick Rude. But another big thing is like I've been getting like freaking. This is what I do collect. I'm trying to complete wave one of the Hasbro WWF figures from 1990, 1994. I have Smash. I have Axe. I have the cream of the crop, Macho Man Randy Savage. This is one of my favorite Hasbro figures because he just does like this perfect elbow drop. It's wonderful. And then just yesterday,
It looks just like how he does it on TV. It's amazing.
Yes. And then just yesterday, I got Ultimate Warrior Series 1, and he is minty. He looks pretty daggum tasty. And he has the jumper action, which I was never a big fan of the jumpers because they have this big weird notch, like this big cyst on their back. And
I've got something on my back. It kind of looks like that. I've been meaning to ask you guys to take a look at it, but anyway.
You know what's funny is for the hardcore wrestling figure collector, this would be a funny tattoo if you could get that.
Or like you see those guys at like conventions like Dragon Con, if you get them dressed up like wrestlers, but then they have that big thing on the back.
Yeah,
that'd be good too.
And there's people walking outside with their mask on. You're outside, it's okay.
They probably heard about you talking about your figures here, so they're excited to come over to see what you got.
Guys, that's like, to me, like I've mentioned it in weeks past, like I've just really been enamored with the plastic versions of our sport, of our beloved sport lately. And it's just fun. It's just like, it gives me something to do. It gives me something to go out and do. There's a whole community out there. And if you are a meanie and you're a collector, hit me up. Slide into my DMs. Just slide on in there. And let's trade. Let's do some tradesies. Let's do some salesies. I don't know what we're going to do. But let's do it. So that's what I've been up to. Adrian, what have you been up to, man?
I'll tell you what I've been up to. Something magical and mysterious happened to me.
Oh.
I watched the WWE. I honestly thought you were going to spit your drink out when you heard me say that. Matter of fact,
I'm assuming you're talking about SummerSlam.
Yes, and that only happened because you gave me a call and says, "Hey, man, this ThunderDome thing is pretty cool." And I was going to check it out anyways, but when I saw your text, I was like, okay, I'll check it out. Do you guys want to go into that real quick?
Well, yeah, we might as well. Were you the one that was posting the inappropriate images on the screens during the show? Was that you?
Hold that. Let's do a roundtable. Brandon, let's hear what you've been doing wrestling related the past week or so. I know what you've been doing. You've been getting hyped for the return of Southern Honor Wrestling this Friday.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, you asked me the question and then you answered it for me. So thanks a lot, A-Bomb.
Well, there you go.
Because you just sat there with your mouth ajar.
Because you were still talking.
That's what I do.
That is what you do. That is what you do. Yes.
And delivered.
Oh God, and it's great, and we love it. Anyways, yeah. So Friday, tomorrow, actually, as this airs, it'll be this evening, August 28th, the return of SHW after nearly 6 months of being off the air.
Coronavirus. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, we're excited, man. We're coming back with the Rumble Jack, the second annual, and I don't really know what to expect. We don't know if we're going to have a big crowd. We don't know if people are going to be too scared to come out at the show, and we're just going to kind of show up and see what happens. But if you're interested and you still have time to get there, if this is Friday when you're listening to it, the tickets go on sale at the door at 5 p.m. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the show starts at 8 p.m. So get there early so you can get a good seat. And yeah, hope to see you there. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it.
What do you know what the feel of like just Canton in general is? Like, have you talked to Gary or anyone out that way?
If the rest of the town is like Gary is so over this whole thing, and he just wants to have the most normal show possible. So I don't know if the whole area is that way, but I have a feeling the people that would be coming to our show are going to be feeling that way. So I think everybody just wants this to be as normal as possible. I plan on getting there, kind of getting to my area and just kind of, so that way I'm not mingling amongst a big crowd the whole time. Like, I'm just going to get to my place, set up, do the thing, and then break down and go home. But
I mean, it's Canton. I mean, what diseases haven't come through Canton? So I think the coronavirus is the least of their worries.
Well, and I think a lot of people, you've heard them say, like, I've been in the action building. I've been into the restroom of the action building. If I hadn't caught anything yet, I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
So
it's not too bad. I don't want to bury it out there. I mean, they're
no, I love that place.
you got
I hate
thrown
that
on
I can't make it this weekend. Yeah, I got stuck working.
You got thrown on the floor, and that's all you talked about was how disgusting it was.
It was a dirty floor. I will say that. But it's a floor. So so we know that they've announced on their Facebook. So if you haven't seen any kind of, I don't want to say restrictions, but guidelines for the coming into the action building, they've posted those on their social media. But do you know of any restrictions or guidelines that they've given the talent?
I do not. I have not heard. All I saw was what you saw on the Facebook page. So if you're curious and you want to check it out, go to Southern Honor Wrestling on Facebook. And they mentioned, seating 35% capacity of what the building holds, which I don't know what that number is. So I don't know what 35% of it would be. But I do know that we had 1,000 that one time. So that's at least 350 right there. And, there's going to be like hand sanitizing stations. There's going to be masks there if you want to wear a mask. It's not going to be mandatory to wear a mask. But the other thing that they just announced, I think yesterday, was front row has been set up around the ring, and those are $20 seats. Every other seat, I think, are $12 or $10, something like that. And they're actually going to give you your chair when you walk in, and you can put your chair wherever you want. That way, if you want to sit with your 5 family members, you can do that. If you want to sit way in the back, you can do that. So basically, you show up, general admission tickets, you grab a seat, sit it wherever you want. So that should be interesting. I don't know what the seating is going to end up looking like once everybody's actually in there. So we'll see, man.
Adrian, from your law enforcement background, is there a way to look up maximum occupancy for buildings on the internet?
I'm sure there is. You can go to a website called municicode.com and look up because that would be like a city ordinance regulation, if I'm not mistaken. And you'll look by state, city, and then you look up for building occupancy. Wow, that's a word. But I'm sure you can look it up. I don't handle the city ordinance stuff too often.
Yeah, I would be curious to see that because, like, chances are, like, the occupancy of that building is probably 1,500 because, I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah, I would think so. But it also depends on what the CDC is allowing, if they change the regulations on that at all now, too.
I feel like regulations have been changing so frequently anyway, too. So I don't currently know what the latest rules and procedures are, but.
Yeah, I hate that I can't be there because I've been itching for a live event. I missed that. Matter of fact, I shot Gary a message a while back, because I've been wanting to scream horrible things at good human beings for a long time and I haven't been able to do that. And that's usually where I do it.
Yeah. Well, the chants have been missed from the Mean Street. Yeah. The Mean Street guys in the front row that start the chants have been missed.
Well, it's coming back. We're going to come back and do it. It's just, unfortunately, my schedule just didn't work out to make it happen.
Well, we'll see, man. I'll for sure fill you guys in next week and let you know how everything plays out. But your guess is as good as mine at this point. I think we're all curious if people are willing to come out and how many, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, yeah. I'm really excited to talk about this ThunderDome thing, and I don't mean the controversy. I mean the actual setup in the arena. When it first was announced, I was like, okay, that sounds kind of neat. I think one of us even referenced it a few months ago saying, hey, man, I'd rather see like a virtual crowd or something like that just instead of this empty seats. And when Adam shot me a text about checking out the ThunderDome for SummerSlam, and I did watch NXT the night before as well, which that was a great event. But just kind of casting over that to the SummerSlam event, man, I stayed with Adam. I don't know if we had a group text going on during that event, but man, that was fun, man. I really, really enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, let's start out with a general consensus, and then maybe we'll go into some highs and lows. Okay. I agree, man. I tuned in because I was curious. I wanted to see what the ThunderDome was all about. I saw the screens. I heard the crowd noises, the pyro, how they utilized the screen, not only for the crowd reactions, which I guess were live, but also they use those same LED screens to make the entrances that much more robust and dynamic. So I thought that was really cool. And yes, I'll agree with you, Adrian. This was like the first time in months since the COVID crisis where I watched live pro wrestling and was actually into it. And I kept it on until I fell asleep, which was the Orton match. But Brandon, what's your general consensus?
I watched the entire thing, surprisingly. Like, I've tried to watch Raw and SmackDown, and I haven't made it awake through a full episode since, before the pandemic of Raw and SmackDown. So when they were doing the Thunderdome for SummerSlam, I was like, I made it a point to try to do my best to stay up for the whole thing, and I did. And I was fairly entertained for the most part. I feel like I tried to watch SmackDown from Friday, and they had already entered the Thunderdome, and then I watched SummerSlam, and it was better. There was something about the audio they tweaked or changed or something. And I was telling a coworker today or the other day that the other thing about Raw and SmackDown is, like, SmackDown, just everything is so blue. And I get it. It's a blue brand, but it's just like all those lights and screens and everything. And then Raw is the same way, whereas SummerSlam was just kind of normal colors and brighter and just felt different, and it felt bigger. And they had fixed the audio from Friday on SmackDown to where it just was mixed better and it didn't sound so strange. But overall, I thought I enjoyed SummerSlam for the most part. But I think it was more of, I feel weird complimenting WWE because we've been crapping on it so much, and I feel like we're not the only ones. Plenty of people have, and rightly so. But I feel like because it was something we were excited to see it. And so even if it wasn't the best show, we were still like, oh, it was great, man. It was fun. We were excited to see it, even if it wasn't the best matches or the best booking. But overall, I enjoyed it. I was glad to have something back to watch.
Yeah, well, I've shit on WWE more than Charmin, and I enjoyed it. I really liked it.
Well, there's one thing about WWE is I don't tune in for the booking, and I haven't in like 3 or 4 years. I tune in for the spectacle. And I think I feel like that's their prerogative. That's their objective, to show something that's glittery and shiny and will keep the average viewer's attention for a short amount of time span, just to satisfy the advertisers and the sponsors. But
spectacle's a good word. Spectacle's a good word because whether you like the idea of the Thunderdome and the virtual fans or not, you cannot deny the fact that visually it looks really, really cool. Just, no matter your opinion of like the virtual stuff and the fake audience noise, it looks cool. And the way they did, like you said, the entrances, it was as big as like the WrestleMania type entrances with all the graphics and the 3D stuff. Like everything just looked cool visually. And even the virtual fans was a neat idea, and we can get to this in a minute, until, and you knew this was going to happen, the trolls and stuff that were posting the inappropriate.
You knew that somebody was going to mess it up for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, before we get to the controversy there, I will say that I may have been having some SummerSlam beverages, and I text messaged Adrian, and I said, what would you do if you were on the screen?
First thing I said was pull my dick out.
And I was just like, somebody was going to be having some Steamweiser somewhere, and they're going to do something silly. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's just talk about the overall visual nature of the Thunderdome. Adrian, you mentioned to me via text, you said it's really bright. So
that was my only complaint. Yeah.
This becoming the new normal. Do you think that's going to be something that's bad, or can you deal with it?
No, I don't think it was bad. It was just if it was me, the only tweak I would have made, because I really I think they knocked it out of the park. The only tweak I would have done was just turn that brightness down just a little bit. Everything else, man, I was on board with. I thought it was cool idea.
And it's such a stark difference if you watch TakeOver the night before, because NXT, on the other hand, they were still dark at Full Sail, but it's like super dark except for the lighting right on the ring. So it's a huge difference there for sure.
You know what? That's a hell of an idea, man, because like now they control the lighting more than ever. Mm-hmm. And so like they could dim the crowd screens, and that would give a darker background.
Yeah, instead of having to kill the crowd lights, they could just dim the screens.
And at the same time, you would see movement, so it would feel even more like people are actually in the venue.
I told Alfred this after the show aired. So this was like Monday or Tuesday. We were talking about it, and some of the screens like had black backgrounds, but a lot of them had brighter walls, like what you have behind you, Adam, like either a white wall or just a brighter colored wall. And so that's what made the whole wall of people look so bright. But every now and then you'd see one or two that was a dark background. And I was kind of thinking the same thing. If everybody had a dark background, or if they, because we're using Zoom right now to record this, and Mossman, you've got that virtual background that you use on Zoom from time to time. So I don't see why WWE can't just like automatically give all of the people that are tuned in, give them like a WWE background, or even like a dark logo or something behind them, to where it just, you just see the figure of the people and not their whole square where it's really bright. But yeah, that was something I noticed too. And I thought there's got to be something they could do to tweak it. And of course, this was like the first week of shows where they did this, and I'm sure it's going to constantly be tweaked over time. And who knows, maybe they'll eventually get it to where we don't have anything to complain about.
Before I say something else, I just want you to know that Macho Man is holding my pen. He's holding my pen.
Classic
and I think that, and I know we're going to touch on some of the controversy stuff. I think that once the WWE machine gets a hold of how to better control the crowd, and of course we know that there's rumors and there's articles out there being written about them telling the crowd when to cheer, when to clap, when to boo, when to thumbs up, when to all that kind of stuff. But I think once they get a better handle on all that, they may do something like that.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that number one, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like,
it's not.
It goes against the nature of like the rawness of pro wrestling, but it kind of turns it into more of like a studio taping TV show, and that's I think that's what they're going to end up doing, like NWA Power was. I mean, we go to Power, and they were like telling us when to cheer.
I didn't like that.
Huh?
I wasn't a fan of that live,
But I will say, as far as the lighting goes, like we're in an era of incredible computer technology. The phone in my pocket is like way more powerful than the computer that put men on the moon, right? And so I'm sure they have the technology to dim and brighten individual panels. So I'm sure we'll see something like that, and they'll take better control of it. So visually, I thought it looked really good, and this is like only the second time that they did it, so they can definitely refine it and make it a little bit better going forward. But I thought it was just spectacular. It was a spectacle.
You mentioned how the fans were being instructed when to cheer and when to boo and all that, but the audio we were hearing sounded like it was like piped in from like just pre-recorded crowd noise. Yeah. But I was just thinking, since now that WWE basically has control over when you hear the cheers and when you hear the boos, now that Roman Reigns is back, do you think they're finally going to have it to where they're going to force the audience to be cheering when he's out there? Because he can never do it on it.
Over with the
right. I was going to say, he'll finally get over the way they wanted him to get over, years ago, I think.
He's going to get over with the virtual crowd, the not real crowd.
The screens will be doing this, but the crowd's going to be going crazy.
Which Vince is like is so excited about this. Like, he has control over everything now. This is a man that if you're in his conference room and you sneeze, he tells you to leave because you don't have control over your own body. That's a fact. That's recorded.
Did that happen to you?
I'm going to start doing that.
Did that happen? Did that happen to you? You got kicked out of his meeting?
No, but it's been written. It's been recorded in the in journalism leagues and legends. And
what's the name of your journalism league?
It is the journalism league. It's like Justice League.
Oh wow.
It's
the Hall of Journalism.
The Hall of Journalists. Yeah.
So but he's obsessed with control, right? And so now he has complete control. So he's loving this. Roman Reigns came back, which before we get there, we talked video, we talked visual. What did you guys think about the audio? Are you okay with the pumping of the
I think it helps. Like, I don't know, man. I can't remove myself from the fact that I know it's not real. So to me, it's kind of silly. But at the same time, when you think
I did the opposite.
When you think about watching the shows at the PC when there was literally nobody, those were just painful to try to watch with no sound. So it definitely helped. And the same thing like currently with what baseball is doing. Baseball is putting in the fake audio too with the fake fans, and that definitely helps when you're trying to watch a game. And I think the noise helps when you're watching the matches. But I don't know. I'm a little mixed on it because I still find it silly because I know it's not real. But it definitely helps when you're trying to watch it.
Yeah. See, for me, it was the opposite reaction. They could have rolled out the rotting corpse of Chris Benoit and everybody having cheered for it. And I'd have been like, hey, reactions. I'd have been happy with that. So I like the reactions, whether they're fake or not. I enjoyed them.
Well, Chris Benoit actually was watching the show, by the way, but we'll get there.
Was he?
Yeah.
I was
supposedly.
I like the audio. Definitely, it kept. I think that was a big missing piece for me. Like it kept me enthralled and kept me engrossed. But really going back to that Vince idea that he's loving this, like this is kind of like peak pro wrestling. I know a lot of pro wrestlers not in the WWE, and I know we've heard like from, I think Brandon, you talked about Joe and maybe Lee Johnson and maybe even Alan Angel said this in our interview with him on Mean Street Podcast. How they talked about how performing without a crowd was just really painful and really tough to do. But ultimately, like if you can get past that, and I feel like this is sort of the peak moment of pro wrestling to where like you can really hone your craft and just go out there and wrestle and not worry about the crowd. I feel like it's almost a benefit. So I don't know. Does that make any sense?
It does, but I mean, you have to, unless you have wrestled yourself, like it's hard to say from our perspective because I've never wrestled, but you hear a lot of wrestlers say that they feed off the crowd and like they steer the match a certain way depending on the crowd's reaction. So
I've definitely never wrestled myself.
Yeah, you have. Anyways, the one thing I was going to say too, we were talking about the crowd noise. So I don't know if you guys watched this. It was, it wasn't Mania, or was it Mania? Was it Mania when Orton and Edge had their like last man standing match? Was that at Mania? I think it was Mania.
To be honest with you, I don't even remember watching WrestleMania this year.
So yeah, but that match, that's when they had like the Howard Finkel introduction with like his recording of the MSG microphone came down in the ring. That was the first match where I heard them pipe in the fake crowd noise. And the reason it was more awkward there was because they were at the PC and you could clearly see the, NXT plants or whoever it was around the outside of the ring. And you knew it wasn't them cheering because they were piping in like stadium noise. And so that was really strange to me. But now that they're in the Amway Center and they're doing the ThunderDome, that kind of noise, that kind of crowd noise fits better and isn't as awkward. But when they were trying to do that noise in the PC, that's where I was really like, okay, this is stupid. But I think now that they're in a big arena, that fake crowd noise actually fits and it helps and fits better.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it, and I think, like I said, they're going to refine it. They're going to make it better and better than what it is. And it's kind of funny at the beginning of this whole scenario, we applauded AEW for kind of being the front runner in it and getting the other talent out there in the crowd because they had already passed all the tests and all that stuff, and they were socially distanced or whatever. But now WWE with their deeper pockets, maybe not. I guess
smoked them.
Not that, maybe not deeper because Tony Khan's dad is worth twice as what Vince is worth. But ultimately, the investment was there. And I think that they really took it to a whole nother level, man.
And I mean, with a virtual crowd and people being able to view from home and being seen at home, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. So here's the thing. We alluded to the fact earlier that I asked Adrian what he would do if he was on screen. Brandon, what were some of the things that we saw on screen?
So, by the way, just for my future politics run, I would not stand up and pull my dick out. I was just making a joke. them was just jokes.
As soon as you start running for office, like
we have to delete this podcast. This has to go away.
Yeah. So here's the thing. First of all, as I'm watching the show, whether it was SmackDown, SummerSlam, or Raw, I was watching what was happening in the ring, and I wasn't trying to focus on the little tiny screens in the audience. So I never picked any of this up live. This was all after the fact, the week following, where we were seeing online on all the different dirt sheet sites and stuff like that, where they were showing the still frames of these different images that had appeared during the live broadcasts of the shows. And for instance, one of them supposedly was a guy dressed in a KKK outfit, which at first
wasn't that funny. I didn't think it was that funny.
What? And here's the thing: I don't know if this was a legit thing or not, but I saw where a lot of fans were commenting, saying that it was a clip of Jericho from the movie Jay and Silent Bob reboot, where he played a member of the KKK in that movie, which I haven't seen, so I don't know what that scene looked like.
It was a pretty funny scene. Yeah.
So, and again, I don't know if that's what the clip was, or if people were just kind of comparing it and saying, "Oh, that was probably Jericho." And then the other thing, I think this happened a couple times. A couple different images of he who shall not be mentioned in the WWE, Chris Benoit. And then what else did we see? We saw apparently there was a footage of somebody being beheaded that was aired.
It was like an Al Qaeda video or ISIS video or something.
And see, like, I'm all up for a little slapstick comedy here and there, but when you're doing stuff like that, that's even for me, that's crossing a line, and that says a lot. Like, I would.
Like if I were to do something, I would be back there like with Macho holding my pen.
And see, like that's how honestly, like I think if we had the opportunity to go, if we got an invite to go to one of these things, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm dressing up like Macho Man Randy Savage, and like I'd expect Adam to dress up like his favorite wrestler, and Brandon, you do the same. And I saw somebody else that had like a giant stuffed Pikachu that was in the camera, and that's kind of funny, that stuff like that. I don't think should be that big of a deal. I don't even think Vince would even get mad about it. He'd be like, what's that yellow crayon doing on screen? Like, he wouldn't get it. But like, I don't think it's that bad. But when you're doing other stuff like, KKK stuff and beheading, I'm like, come on, man, you're literally. We finally got wrestling back. Let's not ruin it,
Right. Well, part of me too, until I started seeing more and more people like reporting about it, was that I wasn't sure what was photoshopped and if it was all actual legit stuff, because I think I saw a bunch where like people were posting photos of like Kenny Omega was on some of the screens wearing his AEW shirt and stuff like that. But again, I didn't research it enough because I'm not the journalist on the show. Adam is, but so I don't know what was legit and what actually was on television. So either way, like you said, there's always got to be somebody to screw it up for everybody else. So it makes you wonder if WWE is going to, for the next week of shows, if they're going to change the protocols, if they're going to like set up some kind of delay on the screens and, have more people monitoring the screens. And I don't know what they're going to do, but yeah, we'll see.
Either that or just having it be like friends and family of talent. The way that I look at this opportunity for fans is it's kind of like the sign era of the Attitude Era has returned. So what a sign allows you to do when you go to the venue is express your opinion, and it allows you to express your personality and your artistic integrity, right? Like I remember the D'Lo Brown sign that was D'Lo Brown, and they made a separate piece of paper that would wobble his head. Stuff like that, I think, is fantastic for fans to be able to expose. And I think that this Thunderdome era of pro wrestling, and this will be remembered as the Thunderdome era. We've got the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression. We're going to have the Thunderdome era.
Part of me wonders if Vince will even go back to a live crowd after this,
Well, we'll get to that in a second. That's a good.
Okay.
But I think that this is a fantastic time for fans to just show their fun, show their creativity, show their personality, show their opinion. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah, don't show your racism. That's kind of crappy.
Yeah, like just go and have fun with it. Like you can definitely dude, if we were on it, wear Mean Street Podcast t-shirts. Like try to put ourselves over, something like that. That's cool, because dude, if we all went to Raw's War back in 1998 and we had the Mean Street Podcast, we would have meanstreetpodcast.com signs. That's what we would have done. So it's the same thing, just in a virtual world.
That reminded me, you talk about signs. That was one of the things too that I think got somebody banned, was they had a Fire Velveteen Dream sign or text or something on their screen, which because, he's come back recently after all the allegations. And again, I guess they never found anything out, but he's been back on the NXT. So I guess he's in the clear now. Same thing with Austin Theory. He showed up this past week. Finally, he showed up again because he was on Raw getting a big push with Seth Rollins as one of his disciples or something, and then all of a sudden he disappeared after some allegations came up about him. Well, he just popped up back on NXT this past Wednesday. So I don't know. You're still getting all these like internet people saying, well, no, they're getting away with all this crap that they did, and Triple H and everybody's sweeping it under the rug. So that's probably a whole nother topic for a whole different show. And if we even want to talk about that, but
Adrian, what did I say was a good point?
the live crowd.
Going back to a live crowd.
Yeah, so they're making a lot more money now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if they're making a lot of money. They're saving a lot of money.
They're saving money. Yeah, they're saving, which is making money.
For like the entire duration of this time, they have the Amway Center for like $450 million, and apparently it was costing like $10 million a show, or so. Maybe not that much, but a much higher amount per show while traveling. So maybe they will. I don't know. Like, but yeah, it seems like a good deal, because obviously it was a good deal for NXT. Like, this is basically the NXT model, right? Staying in one place and just running their show from one place the entire season.
Interesting. I'd be curious to see what their average take would be like for their weekly show when they go to town, what their ticket sales are like, because obviously there's nobody there live, so there's no ticket sales. But
I would say maybe an average of $30 per ticket times, let's say
10,000, 9,000,
270,000, $250,000. You throw in another 150 on merch. You're talking about $420,000, so about $500,000 per. So if it cost, I mean, who knows what their net gain is there? I don't know. I don't know what their margin is on their show.
Here's the thing. You might be right with Vince wanting to keep it the way it is, because at this point, and I talk about how like wrestling has got to have live fans. It's for the live fans. That's what makes wrestling what it is. But WWE has gone out of their way to not call themselves pro wrestling. They are sports entertainment. They are entertainment. They are entertainment. And they've just kind of taken away the whole pro wrestling side of things. So Vince, you might be right. Vince might just keep it the way it is. Whereas an AEW definitely wants to get back to being in front of a live crowd, because they're all about that pro wrestling, that live crowd atmosphere. And that brings me to this week, actually tonight as we record this, is their first show where they're going to be allowing live paid fans coming to the show. And now granted, it's only like 15% of Daly's place. However, I don't know what their full capacity is, but so I'll be curious to see how that goes. And it seems like everything that AEW has been doing as far as bringing like a few fans to ringside and some of the background talent to ringside, WWE kind of followed suit and started doing kind of the same kind of thing. So I wondered if this was AEW's answer to the ThunderDome. Okay, well, we're just going to bring live fans back in response to the ThunderDome. And if it works out with them bringing live fans back, will the WWE then go, all right, now we got to bring live fans back? So I don't know.
I think it'd be kind of cool if Vince and WWE continue doing the ThunderDome and maybe just doing pay-per-views with the crowds.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, like leaving the weekly shows to the ThunderDome.
And then having AEW, like, they're live every single show. I think it would just be a cool differential, a cool juxtaposition of both of them, to where it just further identifies WWE as sports entertainment and further identifies AEW as pro wrestling. So yeah. I think that would just make it even cooler. And it's kind of like, if you're a gamer at all, it's kind of like how Nintendo has established itself as the fact that they're not competing with Sony and Microsoft. Like, they do not view them as competition, just because of the way they do business and the way and the audience that they want. They want everyone. Whereas Sony and Microsoft view it a little bit different. They look at specific demographics, but maybe that's what the intention will be. I would love that.
I think that would be cool. I mean, and because I don't think, part of me was like, I don't know, because then you're going to find out who really wants to watch it in a certain way. But I think if you're in WWE a fan already, you're just going to watch WWE. If you're already watching AEW, you're going to continue watching AEW. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting if it goes that route where they stay with the ThunderDome moving forward, even if we get a vaccine and all that stuff. But
Would y'all get vaccinated?
No. Hard pass.
I would let Adam do it first to see if it works, and then if it works for you, then I might try it.
But it was an exciting time for wrestling this past week. Obviously, ThunderDome. We had Keith Lee showed up on Raw. What do you guys think of him?
I like him, but I missed the Raw debut because I fell asleep during Raw, so I didn't see it. But I did hear that they changed his ring gear and they changed his theme music, which apparently got everybody in a big – all the IWC got up in a big huff about it. But the thing is, I didn't even know – I didn't watch him enough in NXT to really even know what his –
Yeah, that's where I was at with it. I was like,
yeah.
No.
I didn't know what I didn't know what his music was really. I know he does the Bask in My Glory thing. I guess that's kind of what his
They don't do
music
that
was.
anymore because that was pretty killer. Did they stop that?
I don't know. I haven't watched it.
Oh, okay.
But it's kind of funny. Like that kind of got him over too in NXT, which this is not my era of NXT. Like I haven't been watching like I was when NXT first happened. Like I remember when NXT first debuted, I was like calling Adrian like, you have to watch this. Like this is freaking amazing. And it's just kind of gotten a little weird since then, but that got him over in NXT. And like, I remember Shinsuke Nakamura getting over, especially not only with his history in New Japan Pro Wrestling as an amazing wrestler, but also his theme music. Like, like there are all those videos after his debut where the whole crowd as they're leaving is just singing it outside. That's when it's great to be a wrestling fan. Is when you're outside in public and just like living it up. And then they change his music.
Yeah.
So that's
it sounds like it wouldn't be something that would really affect somebody that much, but you're right. The crowd participation is a big part of it. And that helps get wrestlers over. And then when they change the music or they change an outfit or they change the look, you're like, damn, this isn't what we like. But it's, again, with WWE, it doesn't matter what we like. It's what Vince likes.
He also turned heel. I don't know if it was right around the time they changed his music, but because he was so over when he was face, and that's when everybody would chant his theme song, when he would come out.
It was at that WrestleMania it was the one in New Orleans that A-Bomb and I went to.
So where he had the match with AJ, and it was a great match, and then at the end he
did the low blow. Yeah.
Right.
The WrestleMania, great match. Is that what we said?
I guess, wasn't it? I don't remember. Did they not have a good match?
No, it was so hard.
It was supposed to be a great match.
It never lived up to the New Japan matches, I guess.
Exactly. AJ talked about that on like one of their Chronicles or 24s or whatever it is on the network about how like they were going into that match like with that G1 match behind them with I think 2 G1 matches. I don't remember. 1 year after the other, and then like they just couldn't live up to it. They couldn't live up to the hype. So it was.
Was that on their end, or was that where like WWE has a certain style and they don't want them doing like the New Japan style?
Who knows? Because I mean, obviously, a Chronicle or a 24 is going to be through the lens and filter of WWE. So I'm sure they said what they were told to say.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways, so let's see. What were we getting at? I was going to say, you were talking about NXT the last 2 weeks, and I kind of was dozing in and out of it, but the last 2 Wednesdays are like the first time I've actually watched NXT since AEW Dynamite debuted last year. And the only reason was because Dynamite was preempted because of the NBA playoffs. So I actually did watch a little bit of NXT, but and the Pat McAfee thing was what they kind of had a big deal with Pat McAfee leading into NXT TakeOver. And I did want to touch on Pat McAfee real quick because, Adam, you and I talked about this the other day. Here's a guy who supposedly had only been training for a couple weeks, and he went out there and went toe-to-toe with Adam Cole. And I'm not giving him any crap because he put on a great performance. And the guy looks like he could do this regularly if he wanted to. But I feel like they should have pushed him more and given him a little more props ahead of time. It told a better story to build up, because what it ended up looking like was that any old Joe Schmo could come in and train for 2 weeks and then go toe-to-toe with your top guy. So I thought that kind of made NXT look a little, kind of like insulting themselves almost. But anyways, what do you think about Pat McAfee's performance on NXT? That's the only match I actually watched from TakeOver. I hadn't caught the rest of it yet, but what'd you think?
I thought it was great. I thought his athletic prowess definitely shined through, especially that one spot jumping back up to the top rope. I love seeing stuff like that. And of course, it's just a wow factor seeing a non-wrestler do something like that. And yeah, I do agree that the story could have been built up a little bit more. However, maybe this is just a taste, and maybe we won't see much for a while, and it will make the crowd want it more and more and more. But I think he's got the it factor. I think he needs the body. I don't think he's got the physique necessarily. I listen to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast religiously these days. I don't know why, but Brian Myers said there's 4 things that you can control in the pro wrestling business: your physique, your tan, your gear, and your attitude. And I was like, that's life. That's life. Your physique, your tan, and your gear. That's how you look. Because Deion Sanders, he said, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, you get paid good. So, and then just make sure you got a positive attitude on top of that, and you'll find yourself in a good spot. But I think that he needs to work on that. But other than that, he's got the mic skills, and he has a lot of athletic capabilities. So I was impressed.
I was telling our buddy Chris at work the other day, I said, the fact that I was watching on Wednesday, and then and he came out, and I think he cut a promo or something. There was some sort of build up that they did to TakeOver, and he came out and he cut a promo, and I thought, okay, he's cutting a promo better than pretty much anybody else on the NXT roster. And then when I saw him perform in the ring on Saturday night at TakeOver, I thought, man, these guys in the locker room at NXT should be pissed off right now, because here's a guy who's not a wrestler, who's cutting better promos, performing better than a lot of the guys in the locker room. And I thought, that should light a fire under their butt, I would think. Because
yes and no, because the nature of the pro wrestling business is the fact that it's a business. You're not in the pro wrestling business to make friends. You're in it to make money. And I've got plenty of friends. That's what Scott Hall said. But you got to consider who's going to be a draw. So if Pat McAfee can be a draw, while who's a low mid to low card guy on NXT?
I don't watch enough of it. I don't know.
while somebody, Bastion Booger is on the mid card, he needs someone like Pat McAfee to sell tickets to get people there and to make money. So it's kind of like going back and looking at WrestleMania 1. You had Mr. T on there, who was a TV show personality, movie personality, and he was still on TV time from wrestlers who'd been wrestling for 10, 15 years. Would they be mad at Mr. T?
I'm sure they were. I'm sure people. Was it Punk, or there were people that were mad when The Rock came back and automatically got in the title picture several years back. And but of course he's The Rock, and I feel like he deserved it because he's The Rock and he had a long history of being the great one. But
just look at the pay-per-view buys. Look at the money earned is way higher than what it would have been.
I'm not saying they're mad at him for taking their spot. I'm just saying they should look at that and go, wow, here's a guy who's not a pro wrestler, who's better than what we're doing. I need to learn how to cut promos. I need to get better in the ring. I'm just imagining there's people in the locker room at NXT going, holy crap. That should have lit a fire going, okay, here's an outside guy coming in and showing us up, basically.
I agree, especially on the mic standpoint. I feel like that's a big point. He's so good on the mic. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So hopefully he has a bright future. I would like for him to see him gain some weight.
Did both of y'all watch all of TakeOver? I know, Mossman, you said you watched TakeOver.
I watched the first half and then I passed out. Not because it was boring, just because I was tired that day.
Well, overall, what'd you think? I imagine takeovers always end up stealing the weekend.
They're always really good. There wasn't anything that really kind of stood out to me other than the fact that I just enjoyed it.
Yeah. It is so different, though. I do kind of like the fact that they're keeping it different than the rest of the shows with the look, because NXT has always kind of had that indie feel to it. Even when there was still a crowd there, it still had that small indie feel compared to a Raw and SmackDown. And so I do like that they're keeping it out of the Thunderdome, at least for the time being. And I assume going forward, it'll just continue being at Full Sail. But I enjoyed it watching it the last couple of weeks. It's just the first couple times I've watched it since AEW Dynamite was on a different night. But speaking of which, AEW Dynamite, like we said, is on a different night tonight as we're recording this on a Thursday. and tonight's the first night they're doing the live crowd. So
I'll be excited to watch that too, to see how that goes. I mean, it's good to feel like we're starting to get into just being ready and being excited to watch wrestling again. That was something that we've been wanting since early March or late February, whenever it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything started shutting down, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, does the AEW thing, is that tonight on Thursday or is it tomorrow on Friday?
Oh, it's tonight. Yeah, so it's
tonight. Okay.
So we're gonna wrap up here pretty shortly, and so that way we can all
check that out.
We can all get to watching it. But
got excited. I'm ordering pizza right now. This is what's great about doing a podcast on Zoom is like I'm talking about pro wrestling right now. Right now, I'm talking about, hey, I'm gonna watch AEW and AEW.
Ungal right now.
And at the same time, I'm surrounded by my wrestling figures, and I'm ordering some Marco's Pizza up in this joint.
That's what's up. Yeah, my wife's making some beef stroganoff right now.
All right.
Well, hey, I guess on that note, now that we're all like ordering dinner and getting ready to watch AEW Dynamite on the special Thursday night edition, I guess we're going to wrap things up here. But any other last words before we let the meanies go here, guys?
Just y'all be safe. Love you guys, and keep on rocking in the free world.
Hey, Bob,
I got another word for the meanies out there.
Oh, wow. Coming in hot.
Words. Hey,
coming in hot.
Keep your nose clean. Don't steal stuff. Do journalism and buy wrestling figures.
You gonna pimp out your eBay tag at the bottom?
No, I don't want to put that out there.
I am kind of surprised, though, by the way, because I didn't know that you were collecting them just to sell them on eBay. I didn't realize that's what was
Brandon,
going on.
What you don't understand, he's also selling everything as an apartment on eBay. And I'm sure the next time I come down there, I'm going to have like nowhere to sit or sleep.
I have addicted to selling stuff on eBay because I have a lot of really cool collectible retro stuff, and I have. Let's just say my journalism master's degree is paid for.
Well, so basically,
is that the Ahmed Johnson School of Journalism?
But it sounds like you're doing kind of like a ticket scalper thing. Like you're buying them at Target, and then you're going on eBay and like flipping them for like double the price or something. What's going on?
People really want them. They need to get to Target early in the morning. If not,
it's called retail arbitrage.
Oh, all right. Well, right on. Well, there you go. So he's not going to give us his eBay name, but just search him. Just search A-Bomb 2 Suite on eBay. And
I'm doing people a favor. That's the thing is like Targets are not in every city. These are Target exclusives. Macon does not have a Target.
Not anymore.
Really?
Mm-mm. Yeah, we messed that up.
They just have a
county. We'll jack some shit up. You better watch out.
If you're in Macon right now and you need the Target exclusives, Razor Ramon, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Greg the Hammer Valentine Chase variant, just search them up on eBay.
All right. Well, there you go. One last thing, of course, like we mentioned, SHW returns tonight at the Action Building in Canton, Georgia, Friday, August 28th. Tickets are on sale at the door for $12. And we got all kinds of different protocols in place when you get there. So come on out. Have a night of wrestling. Wrestling is finally back. It's been nearly 6 months, and I've been like going crazy, stir crazy at the house here. And so I'm super excited to be back and calling the action. So come see us. Go on Southern Honor Wrestling on Facebook for all the details. And follow us at Mean Street Pod on social media. Hit us up at meanstreetpodcast.com. All that good stuff. And if you see Alfred out there somewhere in the wild, tell him we missed him this week. And hopefully we'll see him real soon. And we'll see you guys real soon right back here on the Mean Street Podcast. In the meantime, ring the bell. He's tapping out.
Let's go! Hey, I got you.
Oh, God. Hang on. Let me show you the thing on my back.